Intuitive Sparks with Carla. It's so nice to have you all here. And we are pleased to have Nick Travasone with us to discuss his coming out to his family and friends regarding his spiritual gifts from Source, our creator. Welcome, Nick. Good to have you here with us.
Hi, I'm honored to be here.
We are a little bit late, but we had a few technical difficulties due to spirit interference, I guess. But we're here and we're so happy to be here, and we hope in some way we can um, help all of you who are going through your awakening process, your reawakening. We hope that in some way that this information that we're about to give you helps you be able to talk to family and friends a little better. And we may have some others joining us tonight. We hope that we do. We look forward to hearing from everyone. And I guess the first thing, Nick, that I would like to start out with is just kind of asking you how you started on this spiritual path of reawakening or knowing of your psychic gifts.
Well, as I've said before in some of my videos, I was born with my psychic abilities, and so for as long as I can remember, I've been able to see spirits and stuff. Like when I was a little kid, I would see spirits just floating around in the hallway. But what started me on my awakening path was that it was 2 years ago. It was August 2 years ago too. And my parents took me to Lourdes, France. It's that little town where Saint Bernadette had visions of the Virgin Mary and stuff, and
Yes.
she dug and like the well came up. And so something in that town, I guess, triggered my awakening. And so that was at a point where my abilities had gone dormant inside me for a while, and so they were just kind of waiting to come back out. And so that town triggered that, and somehow I still don't know why to this day. And so that was like our first stop in France when we traveled. And so then after that, we went to Paris and we stayed there until the end of our vacation. And so after that, we came back home, and at that point I was living in Pennsylvania, and my family and I move around a lot. And so what was happening is that after we got home, for a week afterward, I kept having dreams about the same topic, and it was about ghosts. And so after researching for the past 2 years, I finally figured out that the ghosts were actually myself at that point dying away to let my true self awaken and come out again, because my true self hadn't been out since I was a little kid. And so then after that, I just found Kelly and stuff, and then I just started training my abilities, and so I've learned to get them under control. So that's kind of how that all started for me.
Wow, that gives me chill bumps when you say that it was ghosts and you felt like it was just you, like a rebirth, you falling away and you truly coming into your own. Um, what were some significant experiences that you had when you were first realizing? I'll be happy to share mine with you. When I first realized my gifts, I probably didn't even realize it then, but it was when I was very young. A lot of you have heard my stories. I was in church and I'd be sitting up looking at the preacher, and anybody up on a stage like at a distance of me, and if it was something I wasn't really interested in hearing, I would just kind of just stare blankly at them, and I would see their auras and their colors. That is one key thing that was something now that I know was very important to my awakening. Do you have anything like that you may have experienced?
Well, I think my whole life actually kind of led up to my awakening in a way, because when I was little, I wasn't afraid to tell people what I could see. And so my friends would always pick on me. They'd be like, "Oh, can you see a ghost over there?" And then I'd look, and then I would actually see a ghost over there. I'd be like, "Yes, I do." And so that was kind of like, I guess, preparing me for that. Like, and I would always, and I remember this one day I was at a daycare, and there was a thunderstorm that day, and the power went out in the entire building. And so I saw the spirit come down the hallway, And so for me, that was normal. Like, I didn't
Right.
think anything was weird about it. And so as I got older, though, that's when society was like, oh, if you see or hear things, you have schizophrenia and stuff. And I'm like, I don't want to be diagnosed with that.
Right.
So like, I just kind of like started locking myself down, and my abilities went dormant inside me. But then, after Lourdes and stuff, I awakened. And so, but I think just knowing about all those experiences before I went there kind of helped me with that, because I would see a lot of shadow people before I went to France. And so that was just really interesting to me.
I can understand how when you try to express yourself as a person, whether you're younger or older, and you try to talk about things you may see, and you see something that is not what everybody sees, how people can make fun of you and you repress it in some way, or you try to hold it in, but you know for just certain, you know that you saw it. I have experienced that. I know many of you guys have experienced the same thing going through life. Those of you that had awakened through childhood, some of you have not reawakened now till adulthood, but it can happen to anybody at any time. This is a new age for all of us, and there are more and more people coming and reawakening as every day passes. And I just think it is so important that if you or anyone else has something inside of you, you know, you've got to just trust yourself, know your creator, know where you come from spiritually, and try your best not to worry about what other people think, because you know what? This is your life. In all reality, this is your life. It's time for you to stand up for what you believe in, and don't let anybody drag you down. We call them psychic vampires. You know that, Nick. But I think that's amazing that you did that. So after your experience going to France and all that, what was some of the next things that happened to you when you came back and, you know, went on with life a little bit?
Well, the experiences I experienced after France were some of the craziest things that I've ever seen. But like, when my abilities came back, they had been locked down for so long that I lost control of them. And so what happened is that I was a very strong Catholic at this point after I came back.
Right.
And so what happened is I would always go to church if I was stressed and stuff, and I would sit alone because the church would be empty, and it was a huge church. And so this one day I went, and there was this little area with like a few pews and then behind it there was this thing with candles, a bunch of like tiny little candles about this big. And
like an altar type where you could light the candles.
Mhm, like intention candles.
Right.
And so then I sat down, and like, I knew that my abilities were out of control, because by this point I had found out that I'm psychic. And so I didn't know, I had no grasp on it. And so what happened is that I heard this voice say, "Turn around." And so I turn around, and behind me there's this fire shooting up out of one of the tiny little candles about this big. And the flame was a lot bigger than the candle. And so then I was just freaking out. And so I stood up, and I had my phone, and I started snapping pictures as I walked towards it. And so I don't have any of the pictures with me right now, but I could probably share them with you later.
Oh my gosh, you sound just like me. I take pictures of every single thing I see that is out of the norm or in the norm.
Mm-hmm. And so after I took the pictures, I leaned in towards the flame, and to where I could feel the heat hitting my face. And I heard the voices of a man and a woman talking in this like extremely fast and coherent language, like above me. And I looked up, but there's no balcony or anything there, and so it was just pure air. So I could tell that they weren't of this dimension. And so then what I did is that I just would keep going like this, like back and forth, trying to see if it was real. And the voices would keep coming and going. Like, if I would lean back, the voices would fade. And so then within like a minute after that, the flame put itself out. And this is like the funniest thing to me. Right as it puts itself out, the candle lady walks in. right next to me, and I was freaking out to her. I'm like, that candle just ignited, and it was huge, and I don't know what's going on. And then she had the most like monotone look on her face, and she goes over, picks it up. She's like, "It's fine," and then she puts it in the box and walks out. And I'm just like, I'm standing there with this shocked look on my face, and then the same day, that evening, my dad took my mother and I out to eat, and so what happened while we were out eating was a reoccurring thing that would happen during my awakening, and sometimes still does happen. But we were sitting there, and so it was like this fancy restaurant, and so we're sitting and talking, and then at some point my dad said something, and I got embarrassed by it, and so above me, and it was only the light above me, the light just started flickering, and I was just staring at him like I was like mad, and the light started flickering, and then but then lights throughout my awakening process would continue to flicker because my energy would just like start reaching out to things and malfunctioning them, and but the only time that happens now is if I get like emotional in any way, like highly emotional, because then my energy just goes like and it just reaches out. Those are some of the crazy things that happened during my awakening, but I learned how to get it under control.
Wow. Well, definitely with the candle in church that day, that was spirit coming through to you to let you know that you're connected and we're there. As you saw how we were trying to get this video link started, that was spirit letting us know that there's many with us here tonight. But I totally understand that. I've had experiences like that as well. When you were going through this, Nick, did you try to talk to your family, to your parents about this, or did you just kind of keep this to yourself, or what was going on while these kind of things were happening with you?
When I was going through my awakening after we came back from France, I did try to talk to my parents about it, but at that point they were very like against it, I guess, because they'd never seen anything like that before. And like my mom is psychic too, and like we've noticed that psychic abilities just run in her family. Like pretty much almost every person in her family is born with psychic abilities. And so she never called them psychic abilities though, so my parents didn't know what this was.
Right.
And so when I first told them I'm psychic, they were kind of like, oh yeah, psychic. But like throughout time, they started to grow into the idea that I could be psychic. And so what's really cool to me is that my awakening actually triggered their awakening.
Yeah.
And so like my mom, after a while, she started going like, oh, so that's what it is. And so she started like learning along with me. And so it was really cool because she started learning how to tell what she was seeing and stuff, like, because she can see spirits sometimes and stuff. And my dad, he doesn't he doesn't acknowledge himself as psychic, even though I've heard that he's seen some things.
He has a knowing about things. He's just not come into his own yet, but he definitely wants to believe, and he definitely has had experiences, Nick.
Mm-hmm.
He has.
And so what I've heard is that a few of his siblings actually are known to have psychic abilities, but they don't call it that because they haven't they haven't really looked into that kind of stuff, so they don't know what to call it really. But so I've been really fascinated just watching my parents awakening as I awakened, and like now at this moment in time they're pretty open about it. And so I'm just really thankful for that, because considering that I came out as psychic about a week and 1 day ago, and it's just been really nice to have their support, and they've been really supportive of me and stuff, and so it's just really nice. And yeah.
I was just going to add to you that when I came out to my family, I've not come out to all of my family, although I think most of them know by now, and all of my Facebook friends know that we're my non-psychic Facebook friends, because I post things on my site. I just got to the point where I was like, I am not going to hide who I am, or I just felt like it was such a blessing to have the gifts that I have gotten, I have received from God, and I just wanted to share them with everybody because, as you know, when you start to be able to communicate with someone who has passed away, when you're able to communicate with that spirit and give words to a loved one that is here and still living and tell them only stuff they know, you know there is something there. And I just got to the point where I had done that so much that I was like, I am not going to hide from this. I know I grew up in a very close knit Christian family, Southern Baptist. My mother knows what I'm doing, and I have taught with her. And at first, just like with you, Nick, she was like, "Yeah, right, Carla. That's evilness. That's not of God. That is just, I don't believe that. Whatever." But when my dad was living, he would say the same thing. But as time progressed, things just happen in life. My father passed. I've been able to share so much with my mother, and she has come around the past couple of years, almost 2 years, not quite 2 years now, to where at first she was like, no way, that's just not right or whatever, to where now if she's out somewhere, she knows I love angels, she buys me little angels. And if I get aggravated about someone and we're talking, having a mother-daughter talk, she's like, love and light, Carla, remember that. And so she's coming around. I think she's starting to open up as well, Nick, and see the synchronicities in life. Because once you start to clear your mind and get a grasp of the things you really want in life, get a grasp of nothing but love, and clear your mind and have nothing but love and the light of God inside of you, creator, source, whatever you want to call it, you start to see, and you start to humble yourself, and you start to be grateful. And when that happens, you just illuminate yourself to others. And they're so intrigued by you. They want to know more. Where some family members, yes, they're going to give you a hard time. But then there's other people that are just like, I'm a skeptic, but I've always really believed in it in a way. And I have run across that so much. Have you, Nick?
That's actually funny that you mentioned skeptics, because the entire week leading up to before I came out as psychic, the spirits and stuff were telling me to give certain people readings, and it was like day after day after day, like hour after hour, I was giving so many people readings. And I remember maybe 3 to 4 days before I came out, I gave a reading to this girl. She was a very, very big skeptic, and so she was Mormon. And so I remember I brought up, who got in a car accident? They're showing me getting you into a car accident. And at first, she was really standoffish about it. She didn't really say anything. But then towards the end of the reading, she asked me can you tell why I'm happy? And then I'm like, because you found love. And she was like, what the heck? And she was I just blew her mind. And then she was like, I never told anybody about my car accidents, not even my boyfriend. And so she was just freaking out, and then I actually triggered her awakening through that, so it was pretty cool.
Yeah, it's amazing because you can, by helping other people and telling them things, they want to dive further in and research and learn about things. Let me tell you this one story I had that is truly amazing. It was really a bad thing that happened to one of my family members, but it was just amazing how the circumstances came up. But before I do that, Hey, Allison and Kelly. I know you're with us. I'm glad you're with us. If you guys want to comment or anything in a little bit, you're more than welcome to. Um, when my husband and I went to Mexico this past May, we went for a week to Mexico and we were on our flight home. He's beside of me. We're sitting side by side in the airplane. And I told him I was just going to shut my eyes and just try to meditate for a minute and just kind of tune in and see what I got. And he was reading the Sky Mall magazine. And I shut my eyes for a minute and I started seeing a picture of what I thought was a boy. I didn't know if it was a boy or a male, but it was a picture of someone being burnt. And at that time, what I saw was it was like they were in an oven and just being cooked to death, cooked alive. And it really bothered me. And I didn't know if I didn't sense they were dying, but I felt like they were burnt severely. So I looked over to my husband after I had received that, and I told him about it. And I was like, I feel like somebody on this airplane has had a loved one go through that, or somebody's fixing to go through that. And I didn't think any more about it. And he listened, but really he didn't have much to say except for, mm-hmm. And we got home. That was a Saturday. Well, that Monday, my mother called me, and my stepbrother had gone out back in the backyard to burn some trash, some, weeds and brush and sticks and stuff, and had poured gasoline on the pile, and it had ignited all over him. Well, he got severely burned and had to be rushed to the hospital. So the vision that I had was about my brother. And, my husband was just kind of taken aback. And at the time I had the vision, I didn't know who it was because I couldn't see their face, but I knew something was about to occur. Have you had, that's kind of similar to like you were talking about with the girl in the car accident, Nick.
Well, actually, her car accidents had occurred like a year before the reading, so it didn't happen like after. But I have predicted events because I see the future in my dreams basically like every night almost, and so like I have a journal that I'll write stuff in, and it's about my experiences. And this one time I had a dream about a plane going down, and it had a father and a son on it, and so it went down near a beach. And so I woke up, and this was like the only time I woke up like this. I woke up and I was like, like I woke up gasping, and I just like bolted up right in bed, and I just went like this, and I had the most horrible feeling. And then after that, I went online and I Googled if there had been any accidents, and it turns out 3 hours before I woke up, a father and a son had died in a plane accident by the beach.
Wow. Unreal. It's just amazing what spirit gives to us. And that is the thing. Sometimes we don't really know how to take it, or especially if it's like a future event. I wish that, and I have even asked spirit, I'm like, okay, when I know it's something from the future, I'm like, can you just give me a little bit more? But it's like just enough to let you know to be aware, and then it happens. And you wished you could warn the people, but you don't have enough information to. You know what I mean? You know what I mean, Nick?
Yeah, yeah.
So, but anyway, getting back to this, so we were talking about Nick and the candle and coming out and telling his parents about, how he felt. And after you went through the thing at church, Nick, what was some of the next things? I know you are in high school and a senior, I believe, this year. Um, Even though you're younger, I know you have valuable information to give us all. no matter what age we are. So you started coming out to more family and more friends. And can you tell us a little bit about that and your experiences?
Well, yeah, so like about 2 years ago, the only people at that point when I after the fire and stuff I told were my parents. But then I'm maybe about a month after the fire, I told my cousin who lives in Colorado, and she's a very strong Catholic too. And so I was actually surprised by her reaction. She was like really open to it, and she was just like listening to me and stuff and letting me talk. And then she was like my go-to person to vent to when
Yeah.
I couldn't talk to anybody else about the stuff that I was seeing and the stuff that I was going through. And so she's like one of the kindest people I've ever met in my entire life. And like it was just a blessing to be able to talk to her when I couldn't talk to anybody else.
Yeah, she was sent to you, that's for sure, to be your rock.
Hmm.
So after that, you had her to confide in. So what were some of your other experiences? And I know they weren't all great. So if you could share some of even bad experiences when you told people and how you tried to deal with that.
I actually didn't really have any bad experiences telling people up until last week when I came out to like everybody. But gradually I would come out to like friends and stuff at school if I felt their energy was trusting enough. Or I would just like start telling people that in my like other people in my family that I knew I could trust and stuff like. And I was the type of person that I liked to drop hints at people to
Right.
see if they would catch on. And so I remember like last summer, my aunt was talking about how this place she worked at was haunted by a little boy's spirit. And I just kept kind of dropping hints. I'm like, I could go there and talk to him for you. I didn't say it like that, but I was kind of like dropping the hint.
Yeah.
And so she didn't catch on, but last week when I came out was the first time I really got anything negative from telling people. And like
Right.
I don't know if you saw the post, like because I shared a picture of the post, but when I did that, when I shared the post, what happened is that the next day, like at like 9 a.m., my old youth minister from Pennsylvania, from the church where the fire started, he saw it, and I don't know how he saw it, but he saw it, and he commented, and these were his exact words: "This is not of Jesus. I will be praying for you."
Mm. I really hate you experience that, Nick. Unfortunately, when we go through uh, our awakening, we want to tell our friends and family first before we ever go to other fellow spiritual people to talk to about this. But sometimes our psychic friends are our rocks.
Hmm.
But I do know that uh, if you are from a Christian background, and I know many religions are the same way, whether you're Catholic, Buddhist, uh, study the Quran, um, all the stories are similar in some form or fashion. And I do know, and I feel this in my heart, that we are all from the same creator, God, source, whatever you want to call it. It may have a different name. We are all the same. We're all the same energy. We all believe the same. We're all the same color and spirit. And if you have to reflect back to the Bible, there are many verses in the Bible that all of you that are psychic, that are from a religious family or have a family, uh, that say this is evil or of the devil. There's so many verses, and I'll be happy to post those for you guys. One thing to remember is number one, the church was blasphemous. Jesus tore the church down. Our body is the temple. Our body is the temple of Christ. We are the church. And Jesus himself said, my Father has a house of many mansions, many levels, which I depict as many dimensions. There's everybody can take a different take on the Bible. I do have a lot of scriptures that I will be happy to post in the description of this YouTube video, but the Holy Spirit is in all of us, and it is talked about over 700 times in the King James Version of the Bible. And I know a lot about the Bible. I am not a preacher, so I do not want to get in a war of words with people, but I know myself that the Holy Spirit resides in me, which is why I have my gifts. And, you know, you just have to be ready when you come out, everyone, when you come out to your family and friends regarding psychic gifts. You have to be prepared, and if they're going to, especially if you know that they're from a Christian background, you have to be prepared. Prepare yourself, because it's in the Bible. Prepare yourself so you'll have the scripture to give back to them, and you can discuss it in an adult way with them to where you can help them understand, because I promise you, if you can connect with them on a level that is mature enough for them to understand, you could give them words of healing from a loved one who has passed, something only they and the loved one knows. There's no way they can doubt. They may be skeptics, but skeptics. I mean, everybody was a skeptic with the Lord, you know. So that's the way I look at it. And I don't know. I got a lot of information that can help you guys with that if it's needed, and I'll be happy to give you some verses right now or through this video if you need it. But we're just going to see where the conversation leads us and go with that, Nick. What else?
Well, I just wanted to thank my dad's family, first of all, because they might be watching this later, because they've been extremely supportive. Like, I honestly never thought I would get as much support as I did, but they were giving me a lot of support after I came out as psychic and stuff. And I remember, like, the next day after I came out, one of my aunts called my dad, and she was like asking about me. Like, she was kind of curious about it. And then I remember, like, her just telling my dad to tell me to be careful and stuff. And so
yeah.
I was kind of like smiling to myself. I'm like, I've been awakened for 2 years. I've experienced some pretty scary stuff.
But I know that made you feel good just to know that you had their support, and that's what it's all about. And you know, when you get that support from others, you know down deep that they have experienced something in their life to make them feel that supportive way. They want to learn more. I really feel that in my heart. They want to learn more, and it's going to be up to you, Nick, to help shed the light on things for them.
Well, actually, the reason I came out in the first place was because for like a few weeks prior, I was conversing with the universe and the angels, because I have a very close connection with the angels.
Me too.
Yeah. And so they were like telling me, oh, it's time for you to merge your two lives together and become one. It's not healthy for you to like live a double life anymore. And so that was one of the reasons for me coming out. But then another was because, as some people know, there is a big change coming to Earth towards the end of September, and it's called Wave X, and that's going to trigger a big awakening in a lot of people, like a mass awakening. And the reason I came out was to help those people who are going to be affected, who don't know what they're going to be going through, because they're going to be so confused. Like, their abilities are going to be heightened and stuff and all that, and I'm going to be able to help them now because I came out, and they're going to know who to turn to, because they don't really know anybody else who is a psychic.
Right.
Can I ask something really quick? Oh, I'm sorry.
Yes, go ahead, baby.
Oh, it's nice seeing you, by the way.
Nice to see you, darling. You look beautiful tonight.
Oh, thank you. You do too. I'm confused about what Wave X is. Like, everyone says it's where the Earth will be at a higher vibration, but some people are like saying it will basically be like 5D or whatever, and I don't really know what that is.
I think,
Nick, before you answer, let's explain to those that may not know, like us older people, what 5D is. I know, but go ahead and explain that out for everybody.
well,
What
from
everyone has, but I don't really know what if it's true or not. Like if it's just like fairy tales that some people put out. But, yeah.
well, from my understanding, like 5D is basically where we're going to be able to just be ourselves more, and like our abilities will have more room to like grow, because as you know, through the third dimension is a very limiting dimension. It's very dense, and so our abilities aren't as powerful as they could be in the third dimension, but slowly we're progressing up into dimensions like the fifth dimension. And so that's why, as a lot of people have been seeing, our abilities are getting a lot stronger lately, because the earth and us with it are transitioning, and so our abilities are being able to get stronger and stronger. Like that's why a lot more people have been able to start seeing ghosts with their physical eyes, like Carla, I know you have, and that's why a lot more people have been able to like channel energy easier and all that. It's because we're transitioning like that.
Yeah, if I can add anything, there are, I just know this, and I don't know really how to explain it. You can Google it and find some information out, Allison, but there are some major changes coming up in our world in the month of September. September is going to be a really huge month for all of us. We're going through, and if you or you have any family or friends that are from a Christian background, Jewish background, we are going through the Shemitah, the Jubilee. We've got 4 blood moons coming up. This is a major biblical event coming up. All of our reawakening powers. There's a verse in Acts. Here, I got it right here. Acts 2:17. God said, "In the last days I will pour out my spirit upon all flesh. Your sons and daughters shall prophesy, and your young men shall see visions. Your old men shall see dreams. Even on my servants, men and women, I will pour out my spirit in these days, and they will prophesy." A lot of people are seeing major changes in the world. Our government's corrupt. They're trying to bring up the race card on the news. The news is government controlled. They're all trying to make everybody fight with everybody when everything was so much better. The race issues, you didn't hear about this race mess because we all pretty much got along until all this mess started on the news. There's a lot of changes going on. I could go on and on and on, but September is a month to watch out for. August 15th, August 25th is a big time to walk out for. The UN's meeting, small arms treaties. There's a whole lot going on now, and if you know anything about the Bible and you go to the book of Revelations, you'll see that that's why a lot of us are reawakening. We're here to help guide each other spiritually, to grow and to unite. That's how I feel.
Could I interject actually for a second?
Yes.
So I just wanted to say about something I've noticed in the past week, actually. Like a lot of TV shows I've noticed are correlating with our lives. And so like a lot of the shows that are targeted for young adults, I've noticed are actually intertwined with how their lives are going at that moment. Because I watch a lot of the young adult shows that a lot of people watch, like I watched Doctor Who and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and all that, and this past year I've noticed how similar they were to how people's lives were going.
Yeah.
Because in Doctor Who, like, the Doctor and his companion were, like, having a rift growing between them, and I've seen a lot of rifts happen between people in the past year in pretty much the same way that it did in the show. And that happened with myself and a lot of my friends too, is that a rift just kind of formed between us in the same way. And then on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., there's this race of beings called Inhumans, who they're people who are born with abilities, but it's like their abilities are locked away and their genetics within them, and so they have to be activated and stuff. And so, like that, I've seen that happen to a lot of people in the past year too. Like a lot of people have been awakening and their abilities have been activating and stuff that they were born with, and it's been on a whole new level for them. And so in this upcoming season of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. that's premiering, and all of these shows, by the way, are premiering in September around the time of Wave X.
Yeah.
And so what in the upcoming season that's about to premiere next month, what happened is that on the season finale, one of the main characters, who is an Inhuman, she was born with her powers, she accidentally pushed this thing with her mind that triggered a mass awakening around the world. And so in the premiere and stuff, they're going to have to like realize what's going on and stuff, and so all these people are going to start awakening with their inborn abilities and stuff, and they're going to be like, what's going on? And so they're going to have to start finding people to help them and stuff, and I find that extremely coincidental with the fact that Wave X is going to hit, and it's going to be like trigger the awakening of tons of people.
Yeah. I'm not sure about the Wave X term, which I talked to you about earlier, Nick, but I know that what I'm talking about is coinciding identically to what you're talking about. So I guess that's just terminology for you younger people.
Yeah.
I know what we're talking about is the same thing. It's coming, it's happening, and it's in the Bible. It's out there. The news. If I could just tell people one thing, don't watch the news. Do not watch the news. If you want to learn what's really going on in the world, YouTube it, Google it, because you're going to get a lot more truth on that than watching the news. They're just trying to, I feel like they're trying to break America down. That's what's going on. And we're diving into a whole bigger subject than what I planned on doing, but I really feel like that is what is happening. And I know you guys do too.
Do you think Wave X is what people call the rapture? Like Christians and stuff?
From what
Go ahead, Nick. You go. Yeah, you go.
From what I've seen, it seems like the rapture actually is already happening on Earth, because in 2014, like a lot of people saw that so many people were dying off. Like there were all those things with like Malaysia Airlines and stuff where all the people were found dead and stuff because the planes went down and stuff, and like so many people passed away in 2014, and so what I noticed is a lot of people were like bringing up, they're like, oh, the rapture's happening and stuff. So I think that could already be happening, and so I think it might have toned down, if not stopped, because as you know, there's not been a lot of news this year about stuff like that. So I don't know.
What do you think happens to the people that leave? What do you think happens to the people that are raptured?
I think they just go to where they came from before, when they incarnated on Earth. I don't think like they go anywhere special, but because what I've heard is that we all plan what happens during our lives here on Earth, and then we plan how we're going to go. And so I think that they planned all that so they could be part of the awakening in that way. And so I think that they just go back to where they came from, really. Like if you're from a certain planet, like from a certain extraterrestrial race, they probably just like woke up in their bodies, their original bodies or something, and they just went about their merry way. That's what I think.
That'd be awesome.
And I'll tell you from an older perspective view, I don't think that none of us are here to know when the rapture is happening, but I do think that times are drawing closer. I do feel like everybody realizes that things are not right with our government. Things just keep getting worse and worse. The news puts up what they want us to hear, while say there's a Ebola breakout or there's a shooting somewhere. Well, that's the big story. Ferguson, all the stuff going on there, that's the big story. But in the background, the government, the Senate and all them are passing bills like the United Nations Small Arms Treaties that they're initializing and going to vote on August 15th. All that's in the background and not getting reported on, while you're hearing all the stuff that they're trying to stir up just to get your mind off of what's really going on. So what you really need to do is just kind of, do your homework. And anybody, I welcome anybody. Google the United Nations Small Arms Treaty. It's going up for a vote soon. You need to be aware of what's going on in your world right now. Even though we are going through an awakening, there is a time to stand up for your rights, and the time is now. Nick, that's a little bit deeper than we wanted to go, but I had to say that.
Yeah. And actually, I've been pulling cards for people and stuff, and I've noticed that the one card that keeps popping up a lot is the one that says stand up for your beliefs and, like, defend what you created and stuff, like you said.
It's very true. Any of the people in here, I know you younger people, some of you may, but any of you in here that have got money invested in the stock market, I advise you anytime the first week of September through the month of October, get your money out of the stock market, because it's going to crash. It's going to be the biggest crash ever happen. I'm saying it's going to happen sometime around the 11th through the 15th. It's going to happen. It's coming for
Do you
sure.
think it'll be like another depression or something because of it?
2008 was the worst stock market crash in our American history, and I think it's going to be worse than that, definitely. But now's the time to get out. You can see that the stocks are falling now. I don't know, you guys probably don't listen to that part of the news, but for all of you that are a little bit older, definitely you need to pay attention. Pay attention and get it out. That's all I know to say about it. I know we're probably going to get in trouble for saying this.
So, Kelly, did you want to say anything?
Kelly Cornelius, are you here, darling? She's here. She may be stepped away. She had to give a little bit of feedback to a group we belong to. A good group, but I'll tell you about that a little later. So, what else, Nick?
Well, we could ask Allison about her awakening story and stuff, and if she came.
Allison and Nick, can you guys give me like 1 minute, and I need to run for just 1 second, and I'll be right back. Okay, I hate to do it, but I have to real quick. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Y'all talk a minute.
So, Allison, would you like to share your awakening story with us?
Yeah, I will when she gets back, but I just have one last question
Sure.
about something that I've kind of been like seeing for like maybe a while now. Is I've been seeing, I don't know how far into the future this is, but I see chaos everywhere, where there's like war on every corner of every street, every country, every town, every city. There's no water, no food, we're short on everything, and everything is just crazy. And I'm wondering if you've seen that too.
That's actually funny that you said that, because I think it was a month or two ago, I had a dream where it looked like I was inside of a plane, and outside the plane, I didn't look outside, but I could tell it was kind of like a war land place. Like everything looked kind of like delved into chaos, really. And so I think a lot of us people who have clairvoyance have been seeing that kind of stuff, but I want all of our viewers to know that none of this is certain, because time is not a straight line. Like time can be rewritten, and so we can change the outcome of how bad things can get if we decide to just start sending out light and start changing the world for the better. But if the world keeps going on this chaotic path that it's on right now, it very well could get to that point of what we've all been seeing in our visions. But we can change it. We have the power to. We're creator beings. I hope that answered your question.
Yeah, it did. I guess maybe we're being shown it so we can stop it from happening.
Yeah.
So, how did you wake up?
Were you there for the beginning?
No, I wasn't, sorry.
Oh, okay. But yeah, like I woke up basically by going to Lourdes, France, and so that triggered something in me in a way, like, because my abilities had gone dormant for a while, and so I noticed that after I came back from France, things just started progressing in a way that I'd never seen before. And so what happened is that I found Kelly and stuff, and then things just kind of went from there.
Maybe you had a past life there.
Yeah.
I actually just read this fictional book, and it's called the Immortal series by Alison Noel. If you want to read it, it's really good.
Oh yeah, I read the first book. Yeah.
Yeah, it's about this girl who she dies and she has a near-death experience, and then her whole family dies. But then she comes back and she has all these abilities. She can see auras. She can manifest things within seconds. She can hear everyone's thoughts and everything like that. And it's really overwhelming for her. And I was hearing about the chakras and everything, and I was wondering what they were because I never heard of them before. So I looked them up, and auras were what really interested me because it said everyone can see them. So I tried to learn how to see them, and I didn't even know I was seeing them already until later after I saw Kelly's video when she said put your hand in front of the white wall or something, and I saw the color around it, and I was like, oh, that's what an aura looks like. So I thought it would be like big and neon and flashy or something like that really stands out. But I've been seeing them most of my life probably, I guess, and that's how it all started, I guess.
Yeah, what I've noticed that for a lot of people, what triggers their awakening a lot of times is a traumatic event like that. Like if they get into a car accident and then they leave their body and come back, I've noticed what triggers their awakening a lot of times, and like what really throws their abilities into overdrive.
Yeah.
Carla, I think you're muted.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. That is, sounds like my life story, Allison. That's how I first began when I was a child, seeing auras like that. And at the time, I really didn't know what I was seeing. I just saw them, and I thought it was normal.
Yeah.
And it started out when I was a child. I would see, from the shoulders up, I would see all the colors of the aura. And I kind of repressed it. I said something to my mother about it, in church when I'd see it, and she was like, I thought something was wrong with my eyes. So I didn't say anything else about it because she was like, no, I don't know what you're saying, because she didn't see it. But later, when I learned, I knew that that was what I was seeing, because I would see all the colors of the chakra, and I would see the gold, everything, all the colors. So then when my father passed, and it was just my mission in life to connect with him, I started researching every day. And I would go and learn and research. You guys don't know how much time I've put into this. It's harder as an older person. I'm 44 years old, but I would spend 8 to 10 hours a day just listening to people and learning. And I eventually figured out, that's what I was seeing. So when I started to re-see, I had to reteach myself to see it. I had to reteach myself to see energy, everything. And it started out as about, I don't know, let's see if you can see my hands, about that big of an outline around somebody's head. It would be a white gold outline. And then the more I would look and relax my gaze, I would start seeing colors primarily around the shoulders. Now that I've progressed, I can see around their body. I can see dark areas. I can see problem areas. Like right here on my nose, I have a problem area from too much sunshine. But, I can see it myself. So, yeah, I was just trying to relate to what you were saying.
That's awesome. I remember I didn't see auras or chakras when I was little, but I do remember seeing entities or spirits. And what's weird is there was always this person in a gorilla costume in my house, either in my basement or upstairs, and they showed up in my dreams and everything. and I don't know why, and it scared me. I've been scared of gorillas pretty much ever since. Never said anything. It was just there, and I saw it just as clear as I see everything else in this dimension, and I wish I could see like that again, that clearly, but I'm sure I will sometime. But
It's crazy that you say that, Allison. Growing up, I used to have this recurring nightmare. Have you ever seen the movie King Kong?
yeah, I think I saw the 1931.
Well, I watched that as a child, but I kept having this recurring nightmare of this like huge ape or these big monkeys. I still don't know what it meant, but I had that recurring nightmare through childhood. Sometimes they say that a recurring nightmare like that is a traumatic way you passed in past life, but it stopped. I quit having that after a while, and then I started having dreams of just recurring dreams of fear of the water, which now I love the water. So I feel like maybe perhaps that's how I passed in another life. I don't know. But they do say, so maybe it had something to do with that. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense.
Nick, have you had any experiences like that when you've had like a fear or a phobia or something that is just makes you feel so uncomfortable and scared?
Yeah, I do. I actually have, like, I have a really bad phobia of something, and so whenever I have to associate myself with it, I get really bad anxiety. And so, like, I'll just start having an anxiety attack. It's, like, really bad.
Well, I don't know if it's true, but I really feel like there's a connection with that. And a past life we have had, you may have passed from a situation like that. I don't know what your situation was, but if that makes some sense to you, you know, you can take that and ask your angels and guides to help you get through that fear.
Mhm.
Because
Yeah.
I feel like it probably was.
Mhm. Yeah, I think it was because I remember I have a friend. His name is Scott Trenzo. I think you know Scott.
I know, Scott.
Yeah. And so I guess one time he looked into my past lives to see why I always felt a certain way about this like thing, and I guess it's because I died from falling in a past life. I don't know. Like
Yeah.
I was pushed into like a canyon or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I truly believe that when we have a huge fear of something like that happening, I do think that that is a result from a past life experience where we passed over to the spirit world. So,
And like what's really weird for me is that I can't see my own past lives, but I can tell other people their past lives. Like I can look at someone and once I connect to their energy, I can like see their past lives. Like I
yeah,
I I found out my mother was a cat in a past life, and then yeah, and then who else? And then one of my classmates who was awakened, she was a I don't know if you would call it a milkmaid or something, but it was somebody from the 1800s. Like she had like this apron and stuff, and she had like a bonnet on and stuff, like the thing to cover her hair, like a bandana. And so it was from that era, but I don't know. I guess you would call it a milkmaid. I'm not sure.
yeah, you probably would. I've never had a past life regression done, but I've uh, done enough to know. I think I know what my past lives were. I was told once that, I know it sounds funny, but I was told once that I was a dolphin in a past life, which probably would explain my love for water. I don't know. But I also have had a fear of being in water and not being able to see what was in the water. So I think that I probably had a passing from that. I also think that I had a passing from being killed from someone, an intruder. And I do feel like in a past life I was like a healer, a shamanic type healer. So we all have many, many past lives. But if you ever can experience, if you ever have these feelings of where you feel really scared of something that's been a fear your whole life, I do feel like that's something you've gone through in the past life. But if you ever have these joyous feelings about things as well, I feel like these are things that you have loved in all your past lives. You know, and this reverts back to those that are listening that may not believe in the Bible. If you accept Jesus as your Lord and Savior and accept the Holy Spirit, that your life is eternal. And eternal life to me means that you die, you live, you die, you go to heaven, you come back, you live, you die, you go to heaven. We're all here, and we keep coming back to learn new things because it's all about love. You learn more every time you come back, and that's just truly what I believe.
Allison, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Are you connected to butterflies in any way? Because I feel like you have a very like butterfly energy, or like you were a butterfly in a past life or something.
I love butterflies, but I don't know.
Because like I saw you, and then like I saw butterfly wings coming out of your back.
Well, I don't know. You know Michael Ryder? I don't know how, but he said he gave me angel rings, so maybe that's what you're seeing. Like wings. I don't know what they look like. I haven't seen them. I just know.
From what I've seen about the wings on people's backs is that they're all individual to the person. Like my friend Mimi, she's actually watching this right now, so hey Mimi. But she has these wings that come out of her back, and they look kind of like I want to say like flower petals that are sharp on the tip, like, and so it's like very gentle and stuff. But some people have angel wings. Like my dad, he has these black angel wings that come out of his back, and I used to think that was a negative thing, but Kelly actually said that black angel wings actually are a symbol of someone who is a warrior spirit. So, and that fits my dad pretty well.
That's awesome. I don't know.
Kind of
I
like
have butterfly wings.
Archangel Michael.
Hmm?
Kind of like Archangel Michael.
Yeah.
A warrior spirit, a protector.
I actually have a really interesting connection to him. It's really like awesome. He sticks around myself and my mother a lot, I've noticed.
I see this blue beam of light to the right of you. Do you know what that is?
Me?
Yeah.
To my right or your
left? On your left, behind you.
What is it again?
A blue beam of light, like just.
A blue beam?
Yeah.
I kind of see like the outline of something. I think. Maybe it's like the same thing that came for Kelly.
The blue man.
Mhm.
Do you guys like see light shining in the air, like from a light bulb, for example? Well, let's say you get a mirror or something, and or a crystal, and you move it around the light so it like reflects. I actually see the beams of light coming off of it, and I've always seen that. And I remember when I was little, I told my mom that I saw it. She was like, "That's not possible. You can't see light except for the light in the light bulb." But I see it. Do you see that? You ever? I don't know why. See it. It's weird.
I haven't seen like that kind of like light coming off crystals, but I've seen energy coming off them, like a very gentle, soft energy. Like I had a crystal grid up a few days ago to help me to give me like the confidence to come out as a psychic. And so I was watching my Auralite 23, actually, it's right here, and I had this big amethyst my dad got me from Brazil, and so I was channeling all the energy from my other crystals into that amethyst, so then it would like shoot the energy to me. And then so I was watching, and like my Auralite 23 was pumping this purple energy into my amethyst. It was really cool.
Wow. I wish I could see that. I have to get like relaxed to be able to see that. But it's easier to see on computers for some reason, like in a video. like auras and stuff. I don't know why.
I can tell you what I see and try to tell you how to see it, Allison, is if you go outside, or even if you're inside, but I like to go outside in nature several times a day. But if you go outside and find a special spot and just, you know how to clear your mind and just empty your mind out and focus in on everything, your surroundings. Listen to the birds, listen to the wind, listen to the leaves and the trees move. And you open your eyes and you just kind of unfocus them. You can see energy just moving. It almost looks like rain coming down.
I see that all the time. I started seeing that soon after I read those books that started all of this, and it didn't go away, and I thought something was wrong with my eyes.
Nothing's wrong with your eyes. That is you connecting with spirit. So if you just keep doing that and don't show fear, because there's no fear there. There's nothing wrong with you. But you just relax yourself. And once you start to see that, you just kind of, call on. This is what I say. I'm like, angel guides and spirit guides, please be with me by my side. Archangel Michael, please protect me in the light, loving light of God. And just see what you get. And even if you don't see it out with your eyes, listen in here. And in your third eye, when we say to people, open your third eye chakra, a lot of people don't even teach people the proper way in my book. So when you're seeing this stuff and you're connecting with spirit, your mind is clear and open. You are totally tuned into spirit. Your mind's clear. Got to be empty, no thoughts. You go for you're going to hear your voice inside your head. You're going to hear, you may hear, you need to do this, or you may hear so-and-so is going to win the lottery, or just, whatever. But if you hear your own voice talking inside your head when your mind is clear and empty, that is spirit. That is spirit. That is how easy it is for spirit to come through to you. So don't disregard it. If you just listen to your inner self, but don't let your ego get in the way. I'm trying to teach you the best way I can teach you. You know what I mean, Nick? If you just let go, mind is clear, and you start hearing something inside, that's spirit talking to you. You go with it 100% and don't doubt it. You're going to be right.
That's awesome. Thanks for telling me to do that.
It's true. It really is true.
The few times I've meditated, or I don't know if I was meditating, maybe I was close, but I was really, really relaxed, and it was like I was at a fine line between staying awake and falling asleep.
Yes. We are all there when we meditate. It's so hard, especially when you first start learning to meditate. It's so very hard not to fall asleep because you learn to relax yourself so much. But you can get to the point where you don't even have to listen to music or anything. And what I've learned to do here lately is just to tell people to take, first you've got to do some deep breaths and just clear your mind. Just go to an empty spot where you have no thoughts and do, on an inhale, 5 slow inhales, just like, and count in, and then do a slow release of 3. And you're so busy counting that your mind starts to relax and you forget about all your thoughts. So you're doing an inhale count of 5, slow release of 3, And as you do that, all your thoughts in your mind, your busy mind, drift away. And then you're going to find your common spot where there's nothing in there. And that's when you can connect with spirit. And that's when you need to listen. Even if you hear yourself talking in your head, that's spirit. It's that simple, and people don't realize that, but it really is that simple. Right, Nick?
Yes, it is. It is really, because I remember when I was little, I would be doing things, and then I would hear like this little feedback from a voice in my head, and I always used to think it was me. But then I remember I read this book. It was by Rick Riordan. He wrote the Percy Jackson series, and at some point in the book, like the kids, the main characters, would always hear these voices in their heads, like guiding them. And then at one point, like this Egyptian god or something revealed to them that it wasn't their own voices; it was the voices of like these other beings that were helping them. And that kind of like clicked in my head. I'm like, oh, is that what I was hearing? And so that kind of like helped me realize, even before I awakened, that it wasn't myself really, because it never really
It was spirit.
yeah. But like I can tell you have the capability of being a very strong medium, Allison.
Yeah, I know. The problem I have is that voice giving me advice in my head has turned into a big critic.
Well,
And that means you're not tuned into the right channel though. Like if it's not building you up, that means that your vibration might be a little bit low, and you might be channeling things that aren't in your best interest.
Yeah, like I remember when I was younger, I would basically get different opinions in my head, and it all came out in my own voice. I don't know why, but sometimes one would come in and, like, if it saw someone was happy or something, it would tell me to do something horrible to them. And that gave me such a horrible, awful feeling. I was like, how could I even think that? But now I realize it wasn't me thinking that. And I thought something was wrong with me, that maybe I was crazy or something, and I needed help, but I would never do anything like that.
And that's the problem with like society, is that there are people who are diagnosed with schizophrenia because they hear these voices in their heads. And the thing is that they don't know how to control those voices and how to like tune them out when they need to. And so what we do as a society is we try to medicate them because they don't fit our standards of normalcy. And so what we need to do is we need to start teaching them how to control it so they can channel these positive beings instead of the negative demonic ones that are talking to them constantly.
yes.
As if the government will allow that.
Yeah. And there's a quote from the show Doctor Who. It's from this past season, and is that someone's phone vibrating?
Not mine.
Okay.
Must have been Allison's.
But yeah, and so there's this quote from the past season of Doctor Who, and it's just, I think it's an amazing quote. But it's like it was this episode where there was this girl who she could hear the voices of the trees and stuff, and so everybody was going like, oh, she has a problem, she's on medication for it, like you need to give her medication and stuff. And so then the doctor, the main character, he's like, what's wrong with you guys? Like, you have people who can hear voices and you want to shut them up. And and he was pretty much saying that you shouldn't be shutting the voices of these people up because it's legitimate things that could end up helping humanity and stuff.
Right. That's why I wanted to do this video with you guys. A lot of you guys are younger, and I wanted to let you all know that what you are feeling is spirit. And I wanted to let you guys know that it's okay. You have people here that you can talk to. We can try to help guide you in a way to talk to your family and your friends to make them understand. I wanted to let you all know we have been you. I don't know. I just feel a need to reach out to everyone, and it's just such a crazy time right now. But I was going to get back to Allison. She's gone right now, but this is one of my favorite crystals. Uh, it's a rose quartz pendulum. And Allison, are you here?
Yeah, sorry.
Okay. I wanted to talk to you about this for a minute. This is one of my favorite crystals. It's a rose quartz pendulum.
It's a
And
very
I
pendulum.
use this all the time meditating. And actually, when I first started my reawakening, I was outside. I go outside all the time. If you ever want to truly connect with spirit, you got to go outside, get out of the house, take your shoes off, take your socks off, put your feet in the grass, and just become one with nature. But I was outside one day and I had this in my hand, and I was just totally, my mind was cleared and I was in a total meditative state, and literally I had been in a probably 30-45 minute meditation, and it literally was just shocking me. It was just like I could feel the energy running through it, Nick. It was crazy. It was just like it was shocking me.
I think something like that happened to Kim with an
Yeah, it is a very amazing experience. Um, so I definitely recommend Rose Quartz Pendulum. And if you have learned to totally clear yourself, get outside and hold one and just totally let your mind go and connect. Because ever since then, it was just like it was like almost a recharge. I could not believe it shocked me so bad. I had to let it go out of my hand, and I put it in my other hand, but it was just like it was like grabbing an electric fence. I could not believe it. I've never experienced that before,
That's crazy.
and that was from this one right here.
It's a pretty one.
Thank you. It's a special one now because after
Yeah.
that, I've never let it. I always hold it when I do. Every time I do readings, I have this and my if I do a reading and connect with spirit, I have the rose quartz pendulum and I have just my amethyst stone. I always sleep with this under my pillow, but I just hold it in my hand. But this rose quartz pendulum, you can see the size of it. It's pretty big, and I don't know. There's just heat vibrating off of it right now. It's very, very strong. It's definitely my stone. It was meant for me. But I sleep with the amethyst under my pillow every night, and I'm a major lucid dreamer. I can go to sleep and be totally awake and aware of my dreams. I can totally make my dreams go the way I want them to go sometimes. Not all the
Love
time,
lucid
but most of the time. I'm a very big lucid dreamer.
I used to have lucid dreams all the time, just spontaneously when I was younger, but now they don't happen nearly as much anymore, and I wish they would. But it helps when I start keeping a dream journal, but I just keep forgetting to
Yeah,
write in it.
dream journal's key. And
Mm-hmm.
know that if things used to happen and they're not happening much anymore, there may be some sort of blockage there.
Yeah.
You need to do a chakra cleansing and realign yourself.
How do you do that?
What I do normally is, well, if you have to have a guided meditation, a lot of people meditate to a guided meditation or a meditation. I have learned everybody has to have their sacred spot. And the more you get into meditation, you will learn this. Uh, some people starting out with meditation have to guide, and that's all fine. It teaches you how to get to the level to where you need to go. I have a special spot when I go into meditation. I don't really need to listen to music or anything. I just do my deep breathing. But I just find myself in my woods, and there is a creek, which is really in my woods back here behind my property. And there's a waterfall, and there's a rock bed made of crystal, and I just see myself laying on it. And when I do my deep breathing, I see myself laying on it, and I see my chakras, my colors just lighten up, illuminating from my body. So I've got the red, orange, yellow, the green, blue, indigo, purple, and the gold. But then above me, I also see my light body, my spirit body, which is like what you see from the movie Cocoon, which is just a body of pure light. And what I do when I'm doing that is I just imagine that, and I pull it down into my chakra body, laying on the rock, and I'm there. And I just see that the gold go through my feet, and I root myself in the ground, and I'm good to go, and I'm ready.
Does that work with like emotional blockages too, or belief systems or stuff like that?
Yeah, it works with whatever you feel in your mind that it works for, whatever for you. You've got to find your own special spot. You've got to find your own special place where you're totally clear and at peace. That's my special spot that I shared with you. Everybody has their own spot, their own serenity, where they're totally, the main goal, what you want to do when you want to find that spot to be totally clear and at peace is just to go deep within yourself and see where you're most comfortable. And that's your spot. Right, Nick?
Mm-hmm. Carla, I was going to ask you, like, do you see anything in Allison's crown chakra?
I did. I see that you are a beautiful spirit, Allison. I do see that there are trials and tribulations with you. But see, I know things about you, so I can't really say anything, I don't think, because I know some things about you. Nick, I know things about her, so I can't really say right now.
He knows too, I told him.
I do know that she is going through some things right now. I do feel deep inside of you, Allison, that you are a good spirit and that you're just kind of like testing the waters. You're young and you're just testing the waters. But
part of it was the influence.
I do know that you know right from wrong, and I do think that your heart is here to help others and help yourself. I do think you're here to be a light worker and to help everyone. And that's what I feel, Nick.
Thank you.
Because like I looked at her crown chakra, and it just looked like a bright pink swirling vortex.
Yeah.
Well, pink is my favorite color. Well,
Allison's full of little mischievousness, which I was the same way at your age, Allison, so there's nothing wrong with that. I was hell on wheels when I was young. So you got to experience life, and I do know you're a spiritual person, and I do feel that you will find your right path. I know you know your right path, but right now you're just kind of experiencing everything.
I still live with my parents, and they try to control every single thing.
They're very controlling, which is why you're rebelling against them right now. My parents were the same way. I did everything I could to have a good, fun teenage life. My parents, my mother, I've always been very, well, I don't want to say attractive, but I've always been very, I hate to even say sexual, but I've been very flamboyant. I've always been myself around people. And so my mother in high school didn't want me to wear makeup or different things, and I'd always stick different clothes, mini skirts and all that down in my duffel bag going to school, and I'd put it on when I got to school and hide it and all that stuff. But I don't know, you'll get there. I think it's just different things we all go through from teenage years to adult years. But I can tell you have a very a strict family life. I do know that your parents love you very much. They don't understand you right now. And you're the primary topic of what this video is about. I totally feel like you were brought here to this video for us to help guide you in a way to talk to them. And I will be happy to give you some stuff from the Bible that will help you. But the main thing is, Allison, you're young. You need to just enjoy your life and not really try to prove anything to them until you're a little bit older. Because right now, I hate to say it, as a young person, it's harder for parents to take you serious as, say, when you're in college or a little bit older. But I know you're good and you're on the right path. So I say keep on keeping on. Aside from a couple of things that I know about, don't do that no more.
No.
Really, do not do that no more.
No, I
know you're testing the waters, but
never enjoyed it, and part of the reason it was done was because my mom basically kind of told me to. But
I know. Sometimes you feel like you have to rebel against others. I've done the same thing. I've never done that, but I've done things similar. And I ain't going into that here. Nobody knows what I'm talking about, but you do, and
I do.
you're above that. You are so above that, Allison. You're
did you
beautiful.
see my question? Awesome. Thank you. You too.
You got it in you. You got the spirit in you. You just got to live and grow, and you got to experience life, honey. And you've got good foundations. You know what's out there, and you know you can connect with Source anytime. So I know you're going to be fine. I really know it in my heart. You're going to be so good. And I'm going to say within 10 years, your parents are going to truly understand where you're coming from. But it's going to take that long for you. It is. It's going to take you some time to grow and some time for them to grow. But don't stop, because you're on the right path. Just don't do that crap no more.
I don't plan on it.
Allison.
Yeah?
I wanted to say that, like, I feel that you need to stop beating yourself up over what happened, because
Yeah.
you hold yourself accountable for it, but you shouldn't.
I'm afraid of what will happen because of it.
But you need to. But like, what needs to happen is that you need to change your mindset. Like, you need to stop thinking so negatively about what's going on, because your mind will attract to you what you put out.
Fear brings fear. Let me tell you something. Okay, whatever you think, Allison, or anybody listening, if you're thinking of a bad scenario and you're thinking, oh my God, what if this happens? What if that happens? Guess what? If you dwell on it and think about it, it's going to happen. It will happen in a skippy minute. You don't think about it. You release it to the universe, and you say, whether you believe in God or not, Source, I release this to the universe, and I know that it is in your hands, and I will be fine. And it will be, but you got to know it 100%. Take that to the bank.
I would be able to do that a lot better if my mom didn't constantly tell me what she thinks is going to happen and putting that paranoia into me.
Well, your mama's saying that to you because you're so young. That's why. And how old are you, Allison?
18.
I
Just
have a son. My son is 14, and he's starting high school this year. And he thinks he knows everything in this world, but he don't. But you are older than him. But that's just a way for a parent to love their child. Sometimes a parent can be overbearing, but all they want is to totally protect their child
hmm
because that's all they have. And I know it can be a pain in the butt to you teenagers, but it's true. It really is true.
And Allison, I just wanted to say that your mother truly does love you. It's just that
She does.
No, I know.
she's just going through a lot behind the scenes right now, like internally, that she hasn't told you about, and she's trying to keep it in, but she's trying to protect you at the same time, and so it's coming out kind of in an aggressive kind of way. But I feel like your situation with your parents will be a lot like what happened with mine, where your awakening will trigger theirs, and
Yeah.
then they'll continue to learn with you, and then
Mhm.
eventually they'll become open.
That's
You know
kind of
what?
happened with my mom already a little bit.
Yes, you know what you need to do, Allison, is I know your mom's probably had a loved one. Have you ever connected with Spirit to do a reading, Allison?
Uh, um, well, what happened? I don't know what that's like. So can you describe it to me a little bit?
Has your mother lost someone close to her that has passed?
Yeah, my grandma died like 9 years ago.
Okay. So have you ever been able, through your abilities, through being in Kelly and the Raw and all that, have you been able to connect with Spirit?
I don't think I have. I'm not sure. The stuff just happens to me a lot.
Okay. Nick, you got to take over 2 seconds. Got to run to the restroom. Be right back.
So what I've noticed for you is that you tend to have a problem with believing in yourself, and you shouldn't, because you're an amazing person, and you shouldn't like keep saying that you don't think you can do things.
Thank you. You too.
Like, because I can see that you have the potential to be such an amazing medium. Like, I can see it within you. And instead of saying, I don't think I can do this, you should say, I can do this. Because when you say, I don't think I can, you're putting limits on yourself. And you're like telling your psychic self, like, you can't let me do this, because I don't think I can do it. But what you need to start doing is start building yourself up instead of tearing yourself down, because that's a thing that a lot of us go through, especially as empaths, is that we experience self-esteem issues, and we just start going through depression, and we start going through all this stuff, and then we start doing stuff like that where we're saying, I don't think I'm good enough, I don't think I can do this, and all that. But once we start loving ourselves again, and we start building ourselves up, like, our abilities just go off the charts, because we start taking these limits off ourselves that we have placed on ourselves. And so I feel like if and when you start doing that, your abilities are just going to blow out of the water. Like, they're going to be amazing.
I guess a part of me knows that I can do that. I can do anything I want. But something holds me back, and I think part of it is fear of the unknown.
Mhm.
It's a big part of it.
Mhm. And oh, Carla, you're muted.
Hey, I am so sorry I had to get up for a second.
That's okay.
Allison, what I wanted to tell you was, your parents, while you're in this learning process and you're growing, you're in Kelly's group and you know all of us, have you learned to read or talk to spirits? I mean, what are your abilities right now?
Oh my gosh. I don't even know. I can't control them really. The only thing I can control is the best thing I can control is seeing auras, and I have to get into like a really relaxed state to be able to hear like maybe even a sentence from someone.
Right.
Sometimes during the day I'll randomly hear like a word or a sentence, but they're usually angry or demeaning sentences, like saying you're stupid or something like that, and it's not coming from me, like it's in a total other voice. But so I guess I'm channeling the wrong people.
I think that's your ego jumping in right there on you for number one. Don't you, Nick?
Yes, I do. Because I actually, while you were gone, I talked to her, and I told her that she needs to start building up her self-esteem, because that like she's putting all these limits on herself, and when she has her self-esteem down like that, she's in a low vibration. So all these negative things are going to come to her, all these negative beings, and they're going to start saying, "Oh, you're stupid, you're so dumb, you can't do this, you're so horrible, you're such a horrible person," but you're not.
You're a psycho, all that crap.
Exactly. And when you start raising your vibration, that's when you can start to be able to talk to the angels and all those things. And like that's the place where everybody really needs to get to, because yeah.
So, Allison, what you've got to do is you got to find yourself, and you got to know when you hear those voices, you got to hear, no, I am special. I am beautiful. I am 100% connected with Source, and you got to fully believe it and release all the other negative stuff out to the universe. And I'm telling you this because I swear it's the truth. And when you do that, you are going to start being able to clear your mind, and the voice that you're going to hear within inside yourself, it's going to be in your voice, but you're going to hear spirit talking to you, and that's when you can connect. And when you do that, when spirit starts talking to you, you can connect with someone your mom lost or your dad lost and give them words of healing. And it may take that, but that's when they're going to open up and believe you, and they're going to open up. So you're going to have to be strong, find yourself, and know you can do this. And we can all teach you how. That's my mission. I'm trying to teach everybody how to do it. Mm-hmm. Right, Nick?
Yes. Like, you can talk to any of us, like you can.
Yeah.
If you need to.
Thank you.
And that goes for all. And that goes for all of you watching too. Like, you can contact us and talk to us about it if you don't think you can talk to anybody else. Like, we'd be more than happy to help you.
We would anytime, and that's what this whole video is about. We're here to just, that's what we're here for. We're here to help others progress, and we're here to help you progress in your spiritual journey. And I know that's what I'm here for. Nick's here for that. He has a beautiful soul.
Thank you.
And you're welcome, Nick. And Allison, you're going to get there, baby. I know it. I can feel it in my bones. Spirit tells me that.
Thank you.
I feel like you're going to come out of the psychic closet in the very near future. Like, you're just going to like come out, and your self-esteem is going to be very high. You're going to be like, I'm psychic, and you're just going to be like preaching it to everybody, and you're going to be so happy.
I hope I'll be happy.
You will, but you know what you got to say instead of I hope I'll be happy is, yes, I know I'm going to be happy, Nick. And that's when you're going to take a back burner, and I'm going to bust out and be telling everybody what's going on, and I'm going to tell them all their readings, and that's when we'll be sitting back like, look at her.
Mm-hmm.
That's how you got to be, Allison. Right, Nick?
Yep.
Thank you.
You got to feel it from within.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna get there in the future. Like, we both can feel it.
Yeah.
Thank you. I can too.
You got to know it. You got to own it and know it and do it. because none of us can do it for you. You got to get past that hump, and you just got to know. You got to know it deep inside. We all had to go through that, and you know, it takes some a little bit longer than others. Some people it doesn't take no time, but you're gonna get there. I know you will.
I don't think I could tell my parents about my beliefs. Like, my mom already knows, but my dad, he would probably freak or basically disown me. And my grandparents, like, they're strong Christians, and they think that speaking to the dead is of the devil. That's what I was taught when I was younger.
Yeah.
You know, only witches do that, and if it's even possible. And
Well, that's when he says it's only of the devil and only witches do that. Say, Dad, are you filled with the Holy Spirit or not? And if he says yes, say, well, I am too, and the Holy Spirit is God, and I'm filled with it. And I can give you the verses in the Bible to recite to him. So don't worry about that. We can always find excuses and everything, but the scripture's there. I don't care what religion we're in. This is meant to be. And for somebody to say, oh, I believe the Bible back then when there were prophets and there were miracles performed all the time and prophets said this and that and Moses said this and that and I believe it. Well, if it happened back then, are you crazy enough not to think it's not going to happen now? Really? Get a life, because it does. And there's a many thousands, millions of us out there that can tell you exactly what's going to happen in the next few years.
what do you think will happen in the next few years?
I think a major part of the awakening is going to happen just in this few months alone that are coming up.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of what's going on in the world is about to go under a huge change.
I think starting around August 15th, you're going to start seeing major changes. The changes are happening now. It's so unprofound. The people don't realize it, but in the next month, the next 30 days, it's just going to be so profound. People are going to be like, where did all this come from? But it's been really in front of our faces for the past 3 to 5 years. And times are going to get really tough. Times are going to get tough. The economy's going to crash. We're going to go back to the ways of living in the old days. You need to stockpile, buy your water, do everything you need to do. And I'm not kidding you. This is just my point of view. You can take it or leave it. But if it happens, come back and say, you were right, Carla. But I think between now and December 25th, is going to be a major downtime for America, United States. And I think it's a time of reckoning, and I'm just anxious to see what happens with it all. But I know that I'm ready, and I'm just here to try to help people be prepared, because it's coming.
And what's actually interesting is that the extraterrestrials have been getting ready too, because like a few months ago I was visited by a mantis being, and so I think that was just kind of like a sign for everybody to get ready, and like for me to get ready. And like from what I've seen, a lot of people have started seeing like the motherships, or what they're called, the motherships, flying over like cities and stuff. And one guy said he saw one like drop what he called scanners. Like they look like people, but they have scanners on their hands, and they're like giants. And they were just like scanning the city with their hands and stuff. And
you know what I take that as? I think that in the near future the government's gonna try to microchip all of us, and there's a lot of us that are not gonna put up with that. But
I
I
think it's
don't
so
know.
good.
I'm seeing a Red Dawn scenario. Have you seen that movie?
Which one?
Red Dawn. Red Dawn.
No.
Uh, it hadn't been out too well. I mean, it was came out in the '80s and then it was remade. Uh, it's a scenario of where the people have to stand up against the government, and I think that that time is coming very soon. And I think that China's going to be involved. Um, I don't know. I probably shouldn't say too much, but you just need to be prepared, really.
You know how in Revelations it talks about like everyone being marked with the sign of the beast or something? I think that's what you're talking about. The chip.
Yeah, that's the chips. I won't have one.
I
I
might
will not
kill you
have
if you
one.
won't take it.
But they will want to put one in everybody. And I just will not have one.
But yeah,
But
a lot of people have been seeing like a lot of chaos scenarios. Like Allison was talking about, like how a lot of people have been seeing like wars and stuff going on in visions and all that.
I have, Nick. It's been crazy. Probably for the past 6 months, I have seen one that stands out to me, and particularly is I don't know if you've seen any of my videos on Facebook, just regular little posts where I look out to my tree line. I don't know if you've ever seen my angel tree. I always video and stuff, but it's like I've had visions where I can look out there and it's like I can see the tree line and everything, but everything's in red. It's like the whole sky is red. And I've just had all kinds of bad visions.
You know, that's actually really interesting because I'm reading a book right now, and it's called City of Heavenly Fire, and there's this character who he has like these magical powers and stuff, and so he can see the future. And he says that he would have like visions of like cities running red with blood and stuff, and like
Yeah,
towers made out of bone and stuff, and like I find that really interesting that like all these books and stuff that are talking about that kind of stuff come out around this time.
yeah, because everything I've seen with that is just the background is so red. I can see the tree lines and all, but all the outlines are red, the sky is red, everything is red. I've also, this past week, I had a vision, and at first I didn't know what it meant, and I thought it was Native American, which is what I am. It was Kochan, Kochan, and you guys can Google this. The second word was Kio, Kio. And the third word was Cara, Cara. And I had no clue what they meant. I thought it was from a spiritual guide that, because I knew that I had a shamanic type background. But Kachan ended up being a small village outside of Turkey that was run by, mainly inhabited by Islam now. And Kio was a major stock on the U.S. trade market that has soared over 200% in the past month. And Cara, Cara, was a therapeutic stock, another stock that had gone up. I've been watching those really close the past 2 weeks, and the Cara stock fell a couple of days, but the Kio stock's gone up. The Kio stock was a stock that had to do with jumping in on other internet browsers, like I don't know if it, like a spyware, I guess. But these 3 words came to me in one of my visions, so I researched it and Googled it, and that's what I found. And it's been really crazy the past couple of weeks for me. I told my husband about it. He's big into the stock market, and he's researched it for me. So it's been a wild trip with this vision, from what I've seen, but it all adds up to something of no good in my book. I don't know. Nick?
Maybe they're planning on like doing something like what was her name? Martha Stewart did. Did you hear about her? What she did with the stock market?
Yeah, I heard about what happened to her, but
I mean, something like
this
that.
this is something bad. This is something, and I almost feel like it's even though Cochin is inhabited by Islam now, I almost feel like it is something bad being put on by the U.S. government to make people think that it is of Islam, and it isn't. It's from our people. And the Keo stock, I just think it's something corrupt. And the Kara, you guys research it. Tell me what you think. It's crazy. It's just a vision.
So, how do you think that everything that's about to happen is going to lead to like a lot more people awakening and like coming out of the psychic closet?
I think a lot of people are really awakening here lately, more and more every day. But I don't know, Nick. I think it's. I think we've got a long ways to go. I think that people are becoming more awakened to what's going on. I think their sixth sense is kicking in, their gut, their intuitiveness. There are many people coming about that are tuning in to what's really going on in the world through spirit source. But then there are many that are still so blinded and closed-minded about it. And it really, really worries me. But I do feel that we are all here, especially us. We're here to try to help inform people and help them on their journey of life. I just think this is a lesson for us. And I think we're here to help others. What do you think?
I think so too.
I really do. And it's so much more than just joking around on YouTube and Facebook and all that. It really is so much more. I don't know. It's scary when you think about it, but I know that everything will be all right. But there's bad times coming. I feel that.
Yeah, a lot of people have. Did Allison go away?
No, I don't know where Allison is. I guess she did. I'm not sure. She may have had to take a break.
But yeah, thank you for letting us do this hangout with you.
I enjoyed it very much, Nick, and we've had a very good night. I hope you all have enjoyed it, and I know we got into a little bit more in depth than just sharing our coming out to family and friends, but that's how it goes in the psychic world. You'll have that from time to time. But I hope you did enjoy it, and if you do have any questions or comments, please leave them below. Please visit us at, my name is Carla Sparks, www.intuitivesparks.com. You can find me on Facebook at Intuitive Sparks with Carla. Nick, you have a group as well. Would you like to tell about your group?
Well, on Facebook, my name is Nick Trebasone, and yeah, but like Carla has her group and stuff that is awesome, and it's just really cool.
If any of you guys here are interested in trying to further progress your spiritual gifts and you don't quite understand them, you're welcome to join me as an administrator in Beyond the Veil Psychic Development on Facebook as well. So thank you so much for joining in. Allison, thank you for contributing to our talk tonight, and I wish you the best of luck, baby doll.
Thank you. Is your group closed or secret?
My personal page on Facebook, Intuitive Sparks with Carla, is open. I am an administrator on a page that we try to help others develop more spiritually. Unfortunately, it is for 18-year-olds and over. It is closed group, but we invite people to come. But if anybody would like to come to my group, you're more than welcome, and I will gladly, me and many others will gladly talk to you and help you all out.
That'll be awesome. I might have to make a fake account though, because I don't want my family or friends to see what I post. But
Do what you got to do, girlfriend. I say that secretively. But I'm so glad you joined us, Allison, and you are on the right path. Just steer clear from the other stuff.
mm-hmm. It's not like a common thing, that stuff.
That's good.
But thank you so much for having us, Carla.
Nick, thank you. I love you, darling, and we will have to get together soon. We will talk tomorrow, and you guys have a good night. Love and light to everyone, and Godspeed. Bye.
Bye.
See you.